I grew up with a void, a gnawing sense of abandonment. My grandparents raised me, but their coldness left me searching for warmth elsewhere. They'd tell me my mom left me with my dad when I was young, and he, unable to cope, passed the burden to them. But the truth is, I know nothing about my parents. My dad? A stranger. Years have passed since I last saw him. He left when I was 12, and I've never seen him since. With all these feelings swirling inside, school became a challenge. I struggled to focus and my grades suffered. No one seemed to care about my struggles or my presence. I felt lost and invisible. My escape became the church. I'd attend every prayer meeting, every Sunday service, and even join the mountain prayers. Anything to be away from home and the toxic atmosphere. But as I grew older, the church felt different. I needed a change. So I left for a new church, one that seemed more vibrant, more alive. It was fancy, modern, and welcoming. Everyone dressed impeccably, and the services felt like productions. The first day I walked into this new church, I was enveloped in warmth. Everyone welcomed me with open arms, eager to shake my hand and exchange words. The pastor himself greeted me with a genuine smile. At the end of the service, the pastor invited me to dine with him, explaining it was the church's tradition to welcome new members. After months of attending the church, the pastor finally reached out to me directly. He needed my help, he said, and asked me to come to his home. When I arrived, I found two men sitting with the pastor. He smiled warmly and said he'd called me to join them for Holy Communion. The pastor's wife brought forth a tray bearing biscuits and a red liquid, which I assumed was wine. We prayed, and as we ate and drank, I realized with revulsion that the liquid was blood. A surge of anger and violence coursed through me, and I felt transformed. The pastor revealed that I had just joined a dark and sinister group, destined for this twisted path. Fear gripped me, yet I remained calm, as if I understood this dark fate. That night, I had a disturbing vision. I stood in a meeting, the pastor by my side, discussing opening my own church. The pastor guided me through the process, and the church flourished. But the horror began when we conducted human sacrifices on stage. Screams filled the air as we slaughtered victims, only to clean up the evidence afterward. As time passed, the darkness consumed me. The anger and violence intensified, driving me to unthinkable acts. I began sacrificing my own family, one by one. The grandparents who had raised me, the cousins who had received special treatment, all gone. The only ones left were my father and mother, strangers I had never known. Years went by, and the bloodshed continued. I grew weary of the screams, the pleas for mercy, the endless bloodshed. The pastor's twisted teachings still guided me. Every sacrifice felt like a weight added to my conscience. The memories haunted me. I longed for peace, for silence, for an end to the horrors. Now I realize the truth. I'm damned. Whatever darkness I invited in, it's within me. I can feel it coursing through my veins. You can't run from this darkness. Once you're in, there's no escape. I'm living proof. It's too late for me, but I hope my story will open someone's eyes. Don't be deceived by false promises or charming smiles. I'm a servant of darkness, consumed by the very evil I once thought I'd escaped. But perhaps, in sharing my story, I can save someone else from this eternal darkness. If only someone had warned me, if only I had listened. Now, my soul is forever lost. But that's not the worst of it. I even got married, thinking I could have a semblance of normalcy. My wife is beautiful, kind, and loving, but she knows nothing about the horrors I've committed. Every time she falls pregnant, the child is taken from her, sacrifice to fuel my dark power and grow the church. My wife sees a perfect pastor and a thriving church, but I know the truth. I'm scared, terrified of what I've become. I'm trapped in this never-ending cycle of darkness, and I don't know how to escape. Sometimes, I see the fear in my wife's eyes, the confusion. She senses something is wrong, but she doesn't know what. I've become adept at hiding the truth, at wearing a mask of righteousness. But the guilt eats away at me, slowly consuming what's left of my soul. The darkness closes in around me, suffocating me. My wife's love and trust are a constant reminder of my deceit. I'm living a lie, and the weight of it is crushing me. Sometimes, I wonder if she'll discover the truth. Will she leave me? Will she forgive me? Or will she become the next victim of my twisted fate?